Bezrat Hashem, we're continuing in Siman Lamed Bet. As we said, it's a very long one. We only have about 20 minutes of Halacha every day. Now, by the way, tonight we're starting Halachot 7:45 p.m. We're going to be studying Halachot, what's his name? Halachot Chanukah from Sefer Chazon Ovadia, from Ovadia Yosef. We're going to discuss Halachot and maybe some questions that arise in the middle of Hanukkah, how to fulfill the mitzvah properly. So, B'ezrat Hashem, by Hanukkah time, you'll be the rabbis who will be teaching all your relatives. Okay, but now we're Siman Lamed Bet in Mishnah Brura. We're doing only the Halacha for now, from the Maran and Haga. No, so we're holding by Chalaf Aleph, continuing with Siman Lamed Bet. כל פרשה אחר שיכתבנה, יקראנה היטב, בכוונה ודקדוק פעמיים ושלוש. ויחזור ויקראנה קודם שיתננה בתוך ביתה, כדי שלא תתחלף פרשה בפרשה. So the rabbi tells us over here in Siman Lamed Bet, Chalav Aleph, 21st halacha, that every parasha, before, let's talk about Rosh obviously, before you put it into the box, you are to read it 2 to 3 times. And then do it again before you put it into the case. Okay? Vadia? You have a halacha?
Once you put
Mishnah Brura?
No, but I'll take notes.
When you wrote the tefillin.
Mishnah Brura. There's one. You know where they are? Maybe it's over there.
Yeah.
Should be another
Check
show.
it if you do it.
Sorry. Okay.
Roll it and put it inside.
You have to read it again and again to make sure there's no mistakes.
Once you put it inside, that's it.
Yeah. So the rabbi says, so now we have the financial Rosh has 4 cases, four compartments, right? So it's a big machlokes. It's like 24 something shitot of how to put on tefillin, how to organize it. You find it? No. It's where Nissen sits. You know where Nissen sits? It's
Nissen, Aleph. Mishnah Brura Aleph.
Please, if possible. Thank you. Okay? So it says like this. So you have the compartments. So the whole big machlokes is start from right to left on this side, that way. There's whole different orders. There's the whole Mishkan Bubble over there. That's the machlokot. Right? So the rabbi says here, if you're doing Rashi, you know how Rashi is. Make sure you not to make any mistakes. You put the parasha according to right away. So as you finish reading it, finish checking it, testing it, put it into the slot where it belongs, not to get mixed up anymore. And this has to be processed. It says 2 to 3 times. Plus again. So again, Mistama today we have computers. Baruch Hashem, let's check. They know how to check with the computer, and also that helps out. Chav Bet. Now I heard some rabbonim that they won't sell anything or they don't allow selling until you do a computer check, even business. Okay. Okay, Baruch Hashem. I don't know how they got around it 100 years ago. There was no computers. All right, Baruch Hashem. Yeridah Dorot. 22nd halacha. Tov lenasot akulmus kodem sheyatchil lichtov parasha. Every time you come to write the parasha, check the kulmus, make sure it's proper, without any without any blemishes, without any missings. Okay, kulmus is the feather that we write a sefer Torah, or mezuzah, or tefillin with. Shelo yeh alav deyo yoter mida v'yafsit. What happens is sometimes you have to be very careful that it doesn't have too much old ink, not too much ink currently, and also old ink. What happens if you have old ink? Smudges. That's right. It will deforms. It will be deformative. So therefore, the rabbi and not the other way around. If you should not have too much ink also when he's writing right now, Shalom, he's going to put too much on a letter, he's going to fill in the letter, he's going to lose the entire process till now. Lamed Bet, 22. Lamed Bet Siman, 22nd halacha. וכן ייזהר קודם שיכתוב כל שם לקרות כל מה שכתב כדי שלא יבוא לידי גניזה על ידו. Okay, right here now. We just finished 22. Okay, whole by 23. So he says also you have to be very careful that before you start writing Hashem's name, right, that you should make sure that everything has no mistakes. There's no mistakes before that, right? So, right? כל מה שכתב, כדי שלא יבוא לידי גניזה על ידו. Okay?
Because once you put the name of God,
yeah.
And
you
after find a mistake, that's it.
There's no way to fix it.
That's tefillin, in order. Not Sefer Torah, you could make, you could play around, but the tefillin has to be in order. So tefillin,
if
if
you
you made a
mistake-
mistake
Yes.
and then you wrote Hashem's name, you can't erase anymore.
Are you okay?
No.
Well, okay, now when you have tefillin,
The what?
when you check tefillin, it's pasul.
Bury
Yeah,
it.
you can. What do you have to do? You can. Fix
Depends.
it.
It depends where. Which
When
line.
Shem Hashem is said, you have Shem Hashem. It's pasul.
So it depends. They Sophonim know how to. We'll discuss it right now.
Ah.
Okay? Yadol. Very good. Good question. Have given. Imatza shehiser ot ahad en lo takana. The point over here is if it's missing a whole letter. What you're talking about is probably there's a little bit missing here, there's a little bit there, a little bit. You finish up the letter. If it's cracked in the half or something, maybe we'll see. En lo takana. If there is a missing letter, there's no way to fix it. Sheim ken hayuk tovin shelo kisidran. That's what Rabbi Aaron just said. It's not in order. Upsulin. Mishum dichtib. It says vayu behavayatan yu. And it says vehayu. As you should have the letter. The tefillin is more machmir than Sefer Torah. V'im yeter otachat. What happens if you have too many letters? יש לו תקנה על ידי שיגרור אותה אם היא בסוף תיבה או בתחילתה. Only time you could fix the by taking off a letter if it's in the first letter of the word or the last word of the word. If it's too many letters, sometimes they write. So if I didn't pay attention, they wrote 2 in the halves.
It's in the matter.
Sometimes it happens. Or 2 vavs in the beginning. Vav, like they came out. So you have to just erase that letter is not a problem. In the middle, the whole word has to be erased.
Everything.
The whole word, yeah, or until to that letter. You erase everything up to that letter and then continue writing. Okay, we'll see. Okay? Okay, שיגרור. אבל אם היא באמצע תיבה, now, your question, what happens if she's in the middle? No, משום שיגרור יהיה נראה כשתי תיבות. What happens is, if you take off that letter, it's going to look like 2 words. Yeah, we just finished Chavdiyah. That's not, you cannot erase the middle word. In the middle of the word, the extra letter. Chavdal.
Now and divided the word in 2.
Now it's going to be 2 words, yeah. Chavdalet. Mutar לכתוב, 24th halacha. מותר לכתוב על מקום הגרר ועל מקום המחק, אפילו אזכרה. You are allowed to write in the place where you have erased. Let's say there's a signs of real erasing. You see that whole cloth is smooth, and that area is erased something. Rabbi says it's not a problem. You can write whatever you want on that. Even Hashem's name is not a problem.
Yeah.
ולא ימחק בעודו רך אלא יבשנה יפה. So now, also the erasing of letters cannot be performed while it's still wet, while it's still fresh. Obviously, the reason if it's fresh, it's gonna smear. Right? That's why you have something on a baguette, on a cloth. Don't sometimes if it's glue, like certain things you don't wipe off right away. You let it dry, and then tick tick tick. You can just break it off. Glue, gum, anything that has to do with gum, you let it dry first. Don't be smart guy and try to wipe it off. If you do, the glue will just smear, and it's gonna go into the cloth. It's gonna destroy it, right? But if it's just drip, you just wait, let it dry. Glue, not liquid. Glue that more. It's gonna ruin the.
That's what I did it with my car.
Yeah, the kids. I'm teaching you. I'm giving
Happening
you
to me,
lessons
it's good, yeah.
how to deal with kids. B'ezrat Hashem Bayu, soon. Small kids, they play with the. What do they have? That they have the. They come. No, they're not glue.
Yeah, it happened to me.
Not super glue.
I fixed,
they come with the Elms glue. You know Elms glue, the white Elms glue, the cow Elms glue. They put the sprinkle things on top of it, right? And it slicks over and this and that. So that I had that. Elmer's glue, yeah. So what happens is sometimes the kids leave the prizes in the car, and I put my head on top of it. Oh. My head is all white. Shem el Chaim alai. Then if you're genius, you. Huh? No, slime is not. Yeah, it doesn't. Only the glues are horrible. Yeah. Okay, so the same thing here. Dio, when you put the ink on the cloth, if it's wrong, whatever the mistake is, wait till it dries. Once it dries, you could scrape it off and it comes off easy. Falls apart.
Yeah. Like
But if you smear it, you're gonna have to scrape off a lot. יפה. כי אז ייגרע בכלל ולא יישאר לו שום רושם, as we said just now. קו ה' כל עוד שהיא כתובה שלא כתקנה ואין צורתה עליה, כגון נגע רגל האלף, בגג האלף, או פני האלף בפנים בגג שתחתיה. So you have like this. any letter, the rabbi says, that is written not according to its order as it's supposed to, and you cannot see its image properly. For instance, you have a aleph. As we said, aleph, you have a vav in the middle, and then you have a yud on this side, and then you have a yud on that side, right? So what happened is, the rabbi says, you have a yud on top, an aleph on the roof, they're now touching. So the yud over here touching the vav here, and the yud over here touching the vav over in the bottom, okay? So it looks like a square box. Just little, not square box. It looks like a, you know those send time watches? Looks like, that's what you got. All right? או שהיה רגל ההא או רגל הקוף נוגעים. All right, so you had same thing. The leg. What happens now? The kuf of the word, the leg is too much stretching down. Now it's touching the down leg. Or somehow the hay.
It's gonna look like a head, no? In the case?
No, why? Let's say it's touching anything else. It's touching any letter.
Oh,
Kuf from the top is touching the letter in the bottom.
oh.
But be careful, right? So that's what happens.
No,
Right.
I'm
Oh.
thinking at the head. The head is talking about that the
רגל ההא,
touching the top.
רגל ההא או רגל הקוף נוגעים או שהייתה אות אחת עלוקה לשתי אותיות כגון צדיק שכתב יוד נון. So right, okay. Is what you're saying, Rabbi Aaron. What happens is the leg of the hay is touching the top part. Looks like a head now, right?
Yeah.
Or רגל הקוף נוגעים. So the kuf has like a resh, and then you have, right, it has like a resh, and then a piece in the bottom. So over here it's touching. So it's like a head, but it's a prolonged leg of the head, right? So now it's touching. Or you have a letter that splits into two letters. For instance, the tzaddik. Tzaddik is written, you have a yud and a nun. Because it looks like a nun, right? You have a tzaddik is written like this, and then you have a yud. So take off the yud, and now the nun, that little, the bigger part of the tzaddik makes a nun, and then you have on top a yud. So now they're separated. It looks two letters. It's a yud and a nun. Really, it's supposed to be a tzaddik. Okay. Oh, chet shnei zenin. What happened was chet is written in the form like this.
Two signs, no?
Here, I'm showing it, right? So you have a zayin, right? This is a yud of a zayin, and then in the middle you have a stick. So the chet is written the same way, right? So the chet is, you have two zayins. If you split it in half, it becomes two zayins. But it's a chet, it's connected. So now,
בכתיבה של התורה, לפעמים יש לך כמו חטא, שני זין.
yeah. You have to be very careful that the top is touching.
Yeah.
If it's not touching,
Separate.
yeah.
Separate. But Torah, they make it different. Why?
The what?
Why in the Torah, the rating is different and different. Aktiva.
Yeah, because it's much nicer. This is just publishing.
But what is different with this writing and the other writing?
This is the type over there. It's written. This is the way that the type.
I'm talking when you do head.
Yeah.
בתורה כתוב כמו שתי זין וככה ככה.
Yeah.
אבל חטא אתה עושה אותו ככה.
Over here it's nicer, I guess. Whatever.
Different font.
It's a bad thing, by the way. It's a bad thing. You're asking nicely.
The top,
You hear, Aaron?
like a head. It's sticking down.
Well,
That is above.
גם א', הרבה
what's the question?
The question, Rabbi Aaron, the question Rabbi Moslomo is asking is saying, how come we have two different writings? The Sidurim and the books, they're all written in the way that we have it. And the Sefer Torah has a different writing. And the answer is, it was done by Christians on purpose.
What?
It was done by Christians on purpose.
Which one?
This.
Okay.
This was done by Christians on purpose. You know why? Because now we're all stupid. Nobody knows how to read Sefer Torah unless you practice like Rabbi Aaron.
Yeah.
But if we were growing up our children reading like that, all our Sfarim were written the way the Torah is written.
Oh, without Nikuda?
With
the way how to
proper,
write.
the way the Torah is
Different.
written. Then it would be easier for us.
I want to say
But I have to say, it was done by somebody on purpose to ruin the Jewish nation. Yeah, the Yemenites, they all know how to read Torah. They got to the Torah because their books are
Even the
different.
books of the Tefillah from them is with the
Yeah.
Dion shel HaTorah, yeah.
Yeah, it's haram.
זאת אומרת,
Whoever is probably Christians did it to make us comfortable. Yeah, it's okay. You never know. People are very, very bad intentions. A lot of people have bad intentions. Who knows who did it and why? And don't forget,
But this is more easy.
the tfus was created by whom, you know?
but this is more easy.
It's easy because you're used to.
Right.
Yeah, you have nekudot.
But
with,
tfus,
you know.
who created tfus? You know who created tfus? Who created the printing press?
Yeah, the
Christians.
Oh, I get it.
Who knows? It's a good question. Anyway, but now we're stuck. What are we gonna do? I cannot read. I open the siddur. I open the siddur like a Torah. I can't read it. I can't understand it. My mind is for maybe the next generation. You have to be very careful and train them to start writing old Sfarim in the right in the. But the problem, once you start reading the Torah scroll, right? Then which way you're gonna write, because there's so many different opinions. Then you're gonna
Get
have,
used to practice.
This is the challenge of the nation.
yeah, of course. What do you think? Every day.
What is it? I see the head, Aleph,
I heard that all the books of Halacha or Gemara, whatever, they, until 100 years ago, they wrote with the words of Rashi. Because the words of Rashi, the letter of Rashi is easy to write. To write the Sefer Torah is very difficult. They took not too much time. Maybe.
The Rashi,
More than that. No.
The Rashi,
It's not to do with time. It has zero to do.
Rashi different letters are all.
Moreover, Rabotai, it has zero to do with time.
No, but script, print form, like that.
It had a lot of money. It was ink. Why do you think we have Rashi Tevos? Who needs Rashi Tevos? It was all about ink. Rashi Tevos means just letters, the first letters. Right?
Instead of write the whole word, they write the
Why
first
they
letter.
write? Why? Because there was a problem with ink. It was not wealthy people.
And paper costs
And
money.
Paper, yeah, all these things.
Siman,
But
everything.
now that we are, Baruch Hashem, very wealthy, but we do Averos anyway, every day. Weddings are pushed off for 3 months. Why?
Why are you saying both of them?
Why? If you could have on Shabbat $200 bottle of wine, you could wake up wedding. You could and you should make a wedding a week later. All weddings should be next week. What's the whole business? Wait 2, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Oh yeah.
They take a loan. I've seen people take a
For what?
loan of $100,000.
Huh?
Seen people take out loans for the wedding, like a mortgage.
Because
To the wedding.
they're paying too much money for it.
So we continue doing avirot, left and right. Continue doing it. Let the Chatan Kala do avirot. Let's. Today we have the money. Let's change the print. Like Shlomo is saying, you have the money, do it. Let's train our children that the next generation will, at 5-year-old, will know how to read Sefer Torah. Let's get them immune to it. This is all. It's haram. Oh, so you marking down all the Rabbanim are using it. They're fine with it. Yeah, okay. They're fine with it. Okay, be fine with it. You have money, do it. Shlomo, make a lot of money. Don't give it to me. Find another rabbi. I don't care who you give it to. Somebody who start changing. Take Mishnah Berurah, Shulchan Aruch. Let's type it up properly so the children, the next generation. Let's think about 50 years from now. Let's think Mashiach. The problem is we always think Mashiach is coming now. We don't care what happens in 50 years from now. Right? If the Rabbanim 50 years ago, the Mashiach is not coming 50 years ago, maybe today we would have children, every child, maybe I would know how to read Sefer Torah without a second. Without a problem. But, you know what they're called? What do you call it? Misery loves company. Misery loves company. So 50 years ago, rabbis didn't do it. Who are we smarter than them? Be smarter than them. Right? 50 years ago, they didn't have money. Look how much money we have today. Instead of coming up with 1,000 new books that nobody reads, thousands of new books every day. And we have money somehow to print all that. Somebody should sit down, re-establish at least the Ikarim. The Gemara should be written down in the Otiyot of Torah. Gemara, Shulchan Aruch, all the Halachot, Sidurim, everything should be redone, and the next generation should be trained. And 50 years from now, we will not have Amaratzim. But nobody's doing it. That's the problem. Everybody's worried about themselves. Beautiful question, Rabbi Shlomo. I like it. That's why I believe it's because we have a lot of Christian influence within ourselves. And that's what we have to fight for. Grow Torah. That's the only way to push it off. Okay. Now, so the rabbi says, continue. Aval le'hafrid ha'otiyot ha'bukot ha'hara shekatav le'neim shapir dameh. So you're allowed to separate the letters that they have little attachment. As we already said before, as long as you know those are the letters. The kivan she'aot tzurata aleh. As long as the letter is there, so you're allowed to separate it to make it kosher. Shemafrida me'chaverta lo have kekotev. Because we said last week we discussed that you're not allowed to carve out letters. So let's say if a letter got filled in with ink, you're not allowed to carve out little piece. That's what we discussed last week. You have anything? It's on the previous shul, right? Because when you carve out, the Torah says you're not writing. So therefore, a letter has to be written. So over here, the rabbi is telling you that as long as the letter, you know that the letter has its own image, and now that you separated, you didn't carve out a letter.
No, by the way, that's exactly.
Okay, והוא הדין שאם לא היו מקצת יודין שעל אלפין והשנין והענינין ברגלי התנין נוגעים בגוף העוד ותיקון דלא החכים ולא הטיפש מכירים. Okay, so the same thing. Okay, so the rabbi says הדין שאם לא היו מקצת יודין שעל האלפין והשנין והענינין, so he's telling you the shins, right, they have 3 yuds, the aleph has those 2 yuds, they're touching the ha'anin, the ayin also. What?
One you.
Yeah, but he's talking about the yuds are usually, that's the problem, that they become connected. So what happens is the letters, right? Sometimes the letter of the previous leg, the top line touches the bottom line with the lamed. You have the problem with the lamed sticking out. So all those things, as long as you know that anybody could read it, a youngster, right? דלא חכים ולא טיפש מכירם, שאף על פי שכתב לפניהם יכול לחזור לתקנם. So he says all those that even though all that was written before, that you realize that problem, now you finished the writing. Let's say you have a whole parsha in front of you, so you have all those letters connecting a little bit. They're usually little bit that you could still recognize the letter. It says not a problem. The kivan de tzurat haoda. Leka mishum ketavan shelo kisidran. Over there, once you separate them, it's not a problem that you wrote it not in order when you separate them. ויש שאומר דהו הדין אם חותרה דחת למעלה אין נוגעים זה לזה אך אין ניכר לידיעת הפרידתם אף על פי שהתינוק קורא שני זיזנין מותר להדביקם. Also says the same scenario when you have 2 zines. In reality, it's not 2 zines. If you know, the zine of the right side, the tip of the yud is on this side.
Yes.
The zine of the left side, the tip is on the right side.
I think it's nafkamina between the Ashkenazim and Sephardim, no?
Right.
The Ashkenazim do 2 zayin mamash.
2 zine mamash somehow, and then they connected. Right. We think we do the differently. Right. The rabbi says even then, if you see the 2 zines, now you came to connect them to make it a chet. You hear? Chacham. This is a chidush. Rabbi Aaron. This is the big chidush. That if you wrote the whole parasha, and now in the middle you found the 2 zines, and you know it's supposed to be a chet, the rabbi says no problem, connect them. That's a chidush. Because it's still Kesidran.
We assume that in the beginning was head.
Or I don't know, he didn't say that.
So you mean connect
He
them.
missed it.
No, it's not Kesidran.
No. He wrote zayin is a chet.
Oh, wow.
That's the chidush here.
So you mean if
אף
you
על פי שהתינוק קורא שני זינים, he says. It's not we assume that it was kosher lechatchila. Obviously, you wrote it and now it's not kosher because you never declared it to be kosher. So over here in this case, still that it's okay to combine them and mutar leadbikan. Chavva, we're going to continue B'ezrat Hashem tomorrow.
Well, that's a good question.
Now let's Rabbi Shlomo. If you know anybody has a lot of money and we want to change the way that the otiyot are written, let's talk about it. Now let's say thank you to our ladies that help us out to learn over B'ezrat Hashem.